Disclaimer, this Frozen 2 review is coming from a girl who saw the first Frozen movie 6 times in theater. But we'll get into that later. Frozen 2 was released in Japan on November 22nd, and as soon as it did, I was determined to go see it in theaters, because as someone who absolutely loved the first movie, I knew I had to go see the second, although I felt very skeptical. But first, there was the challenge of trying to find Frozen 2 in theaters in English. If you didn't know, major motion picture movies, especially Disney movies, are actually fully dubbed by the time that they're released in Japan. So, if you want to go see the next live-action Disney movie, the new Star Wars movie, or even the new Marvel movie, oftentimes you'll head to the theater and find out that they're actually fully dubbed in Japanese and have absolutely no English subtitles. So basically, everyone outside of Tokyo has to do a search for a theater near them that has the movies in English, but with Japanese subs. Yes, it is an interesting culture here, literally choosing between sub or dub when you go to the movie theater. To our surprise, our city that actually has quite a few foreigners wasn't playing Frozen 2 in English, so we had to do some Google searching and ended up finding a theater about 30 minutes away by train. So that wasn't too bad at all. And it ended up being a fun night out. We're the only ones here.
Naomi's very happy.
I'm so excited. How long has it been since the last movie?
Since the last movie that we've seen? Or the Frozen?
Frozen?
I don't know.
4 years? 5.
Maybe. Probably. Naomi is going to the theater. Whoa, why am I so unstable? Am I zoomed in or something? Bunch of weirdos filming in the theater. Good thing no one's here.
Wow, what a turnout.
There's literally no one in the theater. Because nobody wants to watch the movie in English. Wow, we have the whole theater to ourselves.
The ultimate date night.
Yeah.
This is a freedom I have never known. It doesn't get any better than this. Somebody's definitely gonna walk in while I'm doing this. Wave, Will. Wave. Alrighty, it's review time, so that means if you have not seen Frozen 2 and you do not want spoilers, I would stop watching now, because I'm going to talk about everything. So I went into Frozen 2 completely blind. I did not see the trailer at all. I didn't want to. I wanted to know absolutely nothing about the movie because that's how I went into Frozen 1. I had not seen any trailers, knew nothing about it, walked in and walked out with my eyes filled with tears and a love in my heart. So yeah, I went in with a completely clean slate. First, I think I should mention the music. Was the music as iconic as the first movie? No. But was it very, very good? Yes. I will say that my favorite song of the entire movie is Into the Unknown. It is just so powerful. I love Idina Menzel. It still gives me chills. It still makes me cry every time I listen to it. And I feel like the theme and message of the song really resonates with me these days. But a really cool part of it is that the voice throughout the movie that is constantly singing to Elsa is actually my favorite female musician slash artist slash singer-songwriter Aurora. That blew my mind when I figured it out at the end of the credits. Her voice is just so angelic and beautiful, and I highly recommend you checking out her music. I don't know if you guys noticed this Easter egg, but I want to point it out to you anyways, but the beginning melody of Into the Unknown is the exact same riff that you hear at the beginning of Do You Want to Build a Snowman, but just in a different order. I will play them for you now.
Elsa?
Pretty neat, eh? I think it was a cute little callback, and it made the song sound really familiar, even though we had never heard it before. I really like the song All Is Found. It's really peaceful and lovely, and it really reminds me of Tangled's Flower Gleam and Glow. You know, that kind of, it's like a lullaby, and it's really beautiful, and you get to hear it multiple times through the movie. I feel like All Is Found is Frozen 2's Tangled's Flower Gleam and Glow, if that makes sense. Okay, I want to talk about my predictions. So at the very beginning of the movie, we find out that there is this magical forest that their father almost died in, but he was saved by a mysterious girl. Now, my prediction was that that girl was going to be Elsa. If you have never seen Howl's Moving Castle, plug your ears. I thought that she was going to pull a Sophie. Like, I predicted that the entire movie was going to be like, this is so cool. Elsa is going to end up going to this magical forest, and she's going to go back in time, and she's going to be the one who saves her father. I thought it was going to be a Howl's Moving Castle moment, and I was like, oh, come on, I already predicted the whole movie. This is going to be so cool. And then they didn't do it, which I want to rewrite it and make it that, because I think that would be so cool. But yeah, that was a prediction. As soon as I saw the dam, I knew that dam was coming down. Every single movie that's like, wow, the giant dam that holds the river. You know that dam is coming down at some point, so that was no surprise. Oh yes, I'm actually really surprised that they didn't destroy Arendelle, because when you find out the backstory, which is that their grandfather, he killed the tribe leader out of cold blood, I was totally ready for Arendelle to be completely washed away. I felt like that would have kind of been like a cleansing, kind of, because then they could restart again as the sisters and what they believe on like a solid foundation of not being fearful and prejudiced. So when the dam broke and the wave was rushing, which by the way was incredibly irresponsible of Anna because she didn't tell anybody she was doing that, so how are you supposed to know that people weren't going to be swept away and murdered by the giant dam wave? Anyways, alas, Elsa came along and saved the day, which it was really epic, but I was so ready for Arendelle to be completely destroyed. I don't know why, but I was thinking that I wasn't going to like Olaf in the second movie because he was surprisingly hilarious in the first one to me, so I was like, okay, he can't continue to be hilarious in the second one, but he still made me laugh so hard. Like, he makes me laugh out loud. He's laugh out loud funny. And nothing will ever beat that scene in that movie then. Samantha? The more I think about it, this movie really does have really dark themes and undertones, and parts of it I think were like genuinely scary, like concept-wise. The darkest moments in the movie for me were when they came across their parents' ship. Honestly, my jaw dropped. I was like, what? I thought maybe they were gonna like reunite with their parents, but no, they go into the ship and they see the ruins, and Elsa ends up pulling out the droplets of the water to get the water's memory back, and it creates this statue of their parents before they die, and they're being swept up by this wave. Like, that's really dark to see the image of your parents just before their death. I thought that was really dark, and it like slightly disturbed me, but it was very good. And let me talk about that animation. In that scene where she is sucking the water out of the wood, those water droplets in that wood look like photographs. It looks like video. It's like, I thought for a second they had just completely switched to not animation and then switched back to animation. And then there was Anna's song, which was actually the last song of the movie. And that song was really dark and really depressing. And I think that the writers were actually trying to reach a more mature audience with that song. I think that they were really touching on a lot of like depression and anxiety and not knowing how to move forward, and just using it as a song to talk about being in such a dark place and how to step out of it. So I thought that that was really a really important and impactful song, but it was just, at first when it played, I was like, this is so sad. This is so sad. What is this? Like, this is so dark. There were a lot of moments in this movie where I'm like, this is kind of scary. I feel like it would really scare me if I was a kid. I would definitely be scared of the giant rock creatures, and I would be scared of the scene where Elsa's running through the waves, the dark waves, and is being trying to be drowned basically by this water horse spirit. This water horse spirit is trying to drown her. As a kid, I would have been terrified. I would definitely be like shoving my face in my mom's arm. There are two major critiques I have about this movie. Number one is the answer Elsa? Is she the fifth? She's the fifth spirit, right? So she went to go find herself. But then who's the voice? And like, her mom must have known that all of this was what it was because she was part of the tribe. But like, why were they so confused in the first movie? So that's a pretty big plot hole. Afterwards, Will was like, so who was the voice calling to her? Was it herself? Was it her mother? And I'm like, I don't know. It was Aurora. And then number two, they totally did Kristoff dirty in this movie. He was dropped halfway through, and I feel like they weakened his character in this second movie. In the first movie, he was not afraid to challenge Anna and tell her that she's crazy.
Wait, you got engaged to someone you just met that day?
Yeah, anyway, I got mad.
He was not afraid to even challenge Olaf and tell him that he's going to melt when the summer hits.
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
Like, he was very, like, blunt and forthwith and very, like, a strong, independent character.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Get your feet down. This is fresh lacquer. Seriously, were you raised in a barn?
And I really respected him, but I don't feel like I respected him in the second movie. Anna just kept on being whiny, and he wasn't, like, sticking up for himself. He was just falling for it and trying to be like, no, you're not crazy. And then Anna just, like, ran off without him, and he had this incredible musical number, which I loved. Super good. It was so funny, and Will and I were genuinely like jamming in our seats. It was just weird to me that he had been ditched and like forgotten, and Anna didn't talk about him at all through the entire movie. It's almost like they had no chemistry at all. And then at the end of the movie, he's just like, Anna, will you marry me? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? Huh? They barely like had anything in this movie. It just felt weird. And I do know that the pacing of the movie was not the greatest. In the first 3 quarters, I would say the pacing is good, and then the last quarter, they just like shoved a bunch of endings in it, and it just wrapped up, and it was done. We're engaged. I'm the queen now. Elsa's moved away. The end. We're happy. It's like, huh? Okay, I'll believe you, because you say that, but like, convince me. You know? But it is a kid's movie. I do take it with a grain of salt, and I didn't expect it to be perfect, but I still loved it very much, and it is still very close and dear to my heart. As I mentioned earlier, I saw the first Frozen movie 6 times in theater, and is it the best movie I've ever seen in my life? No. Have I ever seen any other movie 6 times in theaters? No. But at the time, I was dealing with a lot of stress, and I would say that I was very depressed at that time in my life, and when Frozen came out, I ended up latching onto it because it told me all the things that I needed to hear, like letting it go. Let it go. I needed to do that at that time of my life, and I just couldn't. And to see Elsa, a character that I greatly connected to because she's an elder sister, and so am I, to a younger sister who we love so much and we want to protect. And we both at the time were very like, all of our problems and everything that we were dealing with, we were keeping inside and hiding away from everybody, and we didn't want people to see them because we didn't think people could help. And I saw Elsa on this big screen singing and dancing freely, discovering how to let it go and discovering how to be herself and ask for help was incredibly important for me at that time. And I ended up latching onto the movie, and it became a coping mechanism. So yeah, I obsessively listened to that soundtrack. I obsessively watched the movie because it was an extreme comfort to me. So knowing that the second movie was coming out, it was kind of important for me because I'm in a good place now and I wanted to see what the second movie's message would be. And I would say that overall, as a fan, I am satisfied with the sequel. I really think that the message was really special. I think that the message in this one was all about embracing change and moving forward and growing up, and it's okay to be scared of the unknown, but it's totally okay to go into the unknown, and it's healthy to go into the unknown because sometimes in the unknown is something even better is waiting for you, and I think that that still applies very much to my life today. I hope that you enjoyed this review of Frozen 2. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Let me know what your favorite song is, what your favorite moment was, all that jazz. I've never really done a movie review before, and yeah, this was a bit nerve-wracking because I can talk forever. Alright, anyways, I will see you in the next video.